everyone. Your designers are here.
I'm Anita from Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly from My Soulful Home. And we have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you. So let's get started.
This is episode 18, Decorating for Spring. We're so glad that you're here today with us. Spring is upon us, and we're very excited about spring. At least I am. I love spring. I've seen my first robin here where I live at Stone Gable. I always look for robins. Sometimes, late February into March, and I know that they are harbingers of spring, and spring are upon us. So we're very excited that you're here, and we're going to be talking about spring decorating today. And we live into such different areas of the country that I want to get everyone's spin on what does spring look like in your neck of the woods.
Well, spring in Southern California is pretty spectacular and short-lived. It's going to get hot soon here, so we really enjoy the spring. We usually have a lot of rain. We hope for a lot of rain after Christmas through January and into February, and that has definitely been the case this year.
Yes, I've heard.
Oh, it's been so great because we were in a terrible drought. And my garden certainly suffered last year, abiding by the drought rules and all of that. So everything is so green right now. In fact, my daughter,
Wonderful.
Laura, we were driving back from a volleyball tournament, and we had to drive about an hour and a half away. And she was just in wonder of all the green hills and mountains, because normally they're all brown. So it's pretty spectacular here, and the camellias are all blooming, the winter camellias.
Oh, I
And
love
so
those.
they are really the first flower of the spring into the summer for us here.
Well, here in Texas, it's just amazing in the springtime. It's my absolute favorite time to be at the farm, which is in Round Top, because the end of March, we get a ton of bluebonnets, and
Pretty.
there's a lot of other flowers that come into bloom, but the bluebonnets are just absolutely astonishing. Their beauty.
Oh,
And they
Anita, and
just-
I've seen pictures of your fields with the blue bonnets in it. Oh, that's when I'm going to come visit you in the spring.
I hope you all do, because it's just an amazing sight. Yeah.
Anita, was that Lady Bird Johnson who either started that, or I don't know if she was throwing her own seed bombs or what she was doing, but didn't she do something with all the wildflowers in Texas, or?
Yes, she
Okay.
did. She is known for being responsible for a lot of the amazing wildflowers in the state. So what she did was promote the planting of all these seeds of wildflowers. And so along a lot of the highways in Texas, there's just tons of wildflowers, a lot of bluebonnets, Indian paintbrushes, and, some other wildflowers. And it's really thanks to her. She really promoted that. And what a wonderful legacy for our state.
That
It's
is,
just
yes.
amazing.
Yes,
But
I love that. Lady Bird Johnson, the first guerrilla gardener. I love it.
and people, ask us, wow, how long did it take you to plant all these bluebonnets? Because we've had, acres at a time, just a sea of bluebonnets. And what they don't realize is that they're native, and we don't do anything. In fact,
They
really
self-seed
thrive.
every year.
Right, but they're all volunteers. They're not planted, and they actually thrive on neglect. So if you see a field of
I
bluebonnets,
love a plant like that.
it's because it's stressed. There's, not enough water, and not fertilized. So, we do have a hay. Our properties, our farm is in hay production, and the hay guy always wants me to fertilize, and I'll say no, because then I'm not getting my bluebonnet. So I don't think so. So yeah.
Anita, we'll put a picture of your blue bonnets up on the show notes because they're
beautiful.
spectacular. In Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, I call spring, this area, the quintessential spring time, because it is just spring perfection here. All the trees are flowering, and the weeping cherries and the Bradford pears, and they're just in abundance here. And we have the lilacs come up, and late spring we have tons of peonies. So really, our earth
Oh,
starts coming.
I wish those grew here. They're
I
just so
know.
beautiful.
They
Our
don't
our,
grow
our
here either. I miss those from my New York gardening days.
yeah. Well, we have a late blooming lilac tree out now. This is in May, so it's
You're making
late.
me so jealous, Yvonne.
We have two regular ones in the back, but in the front we have one along our walk. And when we obviously all spring long, I'm a let's keep the windows open kind of girl.
Me too.
And our windows are wide open, and even on the second floor at night, and the scent of lilacs especially at night just come wafting through our bedroom. It's an amazing scent, and those are the days we leave it open, but we have what we call here dairy air as well, because because
What
we
is that
live
again?
dairy air.
That was a winner.
Because we have a lot of Amish farmers, and I mean we're just surrounded by just farmland as far as your eye can see, and other farmers, and they do a lot of fertilizing in the spring, and on days that they're out fertilizing their fields, those are the days we have to keep the window shut because it just doesn't smell as good. But here in Lancaster County, we're so used to that just smells like, okay, spring is here, and they're
bravo.
planting.
Bravo for the organic use of their fertilizer.
Yeah,
I like that.
absolutely. So, but spring is really beautiful here. And, we have our area is a pretty big tourist area. Lancaster's the oldest landlocked city in the entire nation. And so people just come in droves for the history and also for the beauty of our countryside. And spring is such a big time here that, you get into tourist traffic. It can just be amazing. So we know what roads to stay off of. But besides that, spring is just perfect. And we're going to talk about decorating in spring and how beautiful it is to decorate and bring some of that season that we see outside into our home. So we want to give a nod to the season. I'm really big into that when I'm decorating. Do you girls do anything special inside your home other than adding nods to the season during the springtime?
Well, I mean, here we basically crank up the air conditioning. In Texas, and then we pull all the blankets off the beds, and then we're about ready.
Then you're ready for summer.
No, spring, then summer. Oh my goodness! That's a
Oh,
whole
how
nother
long
beast.
does your spring last, Anita?
Well, how are you defining spring?
Well, not super blooming, not super hot, warm though, lovely warm, not.
About 2 months.
But it's way earlier.
It depends on what you call hot. See, what I call hot is probably not the same thing as what you call hot.
Well, you know me. I'm not a fan of that heat, humidity.
I never realized it was that hot in Houston. We're gonna
Well,
let's
but
let's go
it's-
to the farm. Isn't it as hot there too?
Well, Houston is hot, but I think the thing is it's not as hot as some places, but it's so humid it just feels like it's twice as hot. So, the misery index is usually rather high.
I'm going to use that because I don't mind the heat. I hate the humidity.
Yeah.
And we live at the foot of the Piedmont, and boy, do we get that the terrible humidity. It's just as bad as
Well,
almost the South.
And we're awfully close to the Gulf, so we definitely it's extremely humid here year round. But at the farm, it's actually a little bit warmer, but it's further from the coast, more inland, so it's a lot drier. And it's just a
Okay.
lot drier climate. It's amazing to me the difference in rainfall at the farm in Round Top versus here in Houston.
Where you are
So
in Houston.
it's definitely a lot drier.
Do you
So-
do anything for spring? I mean, I'm thinking like spring cleaning, that kind of stuff.
I do.
Well,
I feel every year like it's just sort of a rite of passage, something that you do, just like when you pull out all your Christmas decor, springtime. I just have the sense, like, just like you said, throw up the windows, freshen everything up, get into those corners, gather up the dust bunnies from the winter and scoot them out the door.
When
I
you're
love
done, can
that.
you come to my house and do that?
I grew up with a very, very, very clean household. My mother.
I did too. I got you.
What's the difference?
No
Why not have
comment.
OCD?
How about
overly-
you, Nita Jean?
Oh, I don't. My mother
Eugene.
worked, so I'm just going to say she was a rather busy woman.
Good for you.
Well, my mom calls OCD overly clean disease.
Oh, I love that. I
Yeah.
wish I would have gotten that.
Yeah,
I
well,
don't. I
Y'all
don't.
the
I mean, I
German
do
in
like a
her.
clean house. I do like organized, but ooh, it's just not. I mean, my mother loves it. I don't get
Oh.
that. I mean, I
She
do it
loves to
because
clean? Your
she
mom loves to clean,
loves
Yvonne?
to clean. My
Oh my.
mother's house,
No,
like
I
she
don't
goes
have
down
that.
to the basement. She's always organizing her like five things she has in the basement.
Well,
And
so
she's.
have
I
you
mean,
heard of
she's
this? Like, there's people that like to straighten and people that like to clean, and I'm a straightener, but not really a cleaner.
okay.
I think
Well,
I'm a
I do my
straightener and a
30-minute
cleaner.
cleaning, so that takes care of everything.
Oh, I love your 30-minute cleaning though. But it takes time, but I do like it, like a deep clean. So I like to do that in the house, and then start to move out, especially here because we have a short cool period winter time. So I love having the warm throws and the textures and all of that. But around this time of year, it's time to move that stuff out, or it kind of looks
It is.
silly.
You're right.
So I like to do that. And then there's a few little Easter decorations that I've had for years since I was little that I like to bring out. And just start putting around some pastels, which I don't usually use, and just to make it a little fresher.
Oh, I just read a really interesting post, and I will have to look for it, that they said don't just spring clean, spring organize, and spring purge. And
Yeah,
thought,
I do the
what a
organize and the
great
purge.
idea. Do you purge?
Well, I do the organize and the purge, but the cleaning, I have a professional person because I cannot do it.
I know. I agree.
I consult a professional, says Nina Jean.
Well, I could hurt myself, so
Yeah, no, we don't
Yeah.
want that.
Now,
We don't
do you
want that.
do you do things like change your bedding, and do you have spring bedding? Any of you?
Well,
Well,
I
I'm
mean,
just
it's
going to
just
transition into some new beautiful bedding when my room is done.
Oh.
And we add, layers. And I know we're going to talk about bedding another day, so I won't get too far into that. But, take a few things off because you don't need it anymore. But other than that, I don't make a big change. I don't all of a sudden have a pink bedspread or something.
Yeah, yeah.
well, I go with
Bedspreads.
the,
Anyway, no one says bedspread anymore. Where did that come from?
well, because nobody's.
Hey, I have a bedspread.
I
You
have a bedspread.
Yeah, a light quilt I use as a bedspread. But anyway, we do the same thing. But I have been lately, just this is because it's years and years of decorating. I've been trying to acquire like winter bedding and spring and summer bedding. So I'm on the prowl right now, which I
Now, where
love
do
the
you
hunt.
store all
I
this,
want
Yvonne?
I want great stuff at a reasonable price. I'm on the prowl to change up the bedding in one of our guest bedrooms. That's exciting, and it's
where-
fun to do.
Where do you store your out of season bedding, Yvonne?
You know those like space bags that you
Oh,
suck
those
all
are
the air
good.
out of everything, and just keep it under their bed. Keep it under the bed.
Okay. Well, I
It
do like
keeps-
to go with linen sheets in the summer because they are so much cooler to the touch.
And we're going to be talking about that in the next couple podcasts.
I'm
And I
excited.
don't know a lot about that, so I'm real excited. But
Oh, well, you will after the next couple of
I'm glad.
After we
Well,
do our research.
Yeah, and here's another question I have. And I'm so into this that I used to I decorate seasonally. I was a first grade teacher for so long. You just bounce from one holiday to another. And I've sort of not lost that. And so I do decorate with a nod to what's outside, seasons and holidays. But I used to just wake up one day and do my downstairs, and all of a sudden one day you're doing winter, and then the next day, pop, it's spring. But I've gotten into more like of a easy transition. Like bringing things in that would work for both, or
that's a great
bringing just
idea.
little touches of things, and then as the season rolls on, adding more and more. What do you
Well, I
girls
like
do?
that, Yvonne, because it kind of gives you a little. You're not stuck in winter and then suddenly you go to spring, but it kind of lets you do a little bit as you go along. So I feel like you have something to look forward to, and just a little bit of change every week or so. So I love that approach.
And and it's really fun because it's not like, oh my gosh, I've got to decorate for spring tomorrow, and it's your whole day, and you've got all these things you have to we have a basement, take down to the basement and bring back up. And I just love sort of that gradual think it through. Every day's a surprise because there's something new.
Yeah, and you don't want to make it feel like, you're walking into Macy's right after Halloween and all of a sudden all the Halloween's gone and it's Christmas and you're
Yes,
like, oh,
exactly.
it's so jarring.
Yeah, the elves come at night and just change it all.
How does that happen? I love to add flowers, obviously, and springtime's perfect time. So tulips say spring to me, and also the forest branches. But I have an
Yes.
idea for everyone that I want to share about
Yes.
forest branches. I love
Well, let's
forest
talk
branches.
about that because I do want to talk about other spring elements, but I just think this is so important because I think we get out of decorating with um, tchotchkes of the season. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, the gaggle of Easter bunnies or chicks or
Right.
whatever. And we're really getting into more organics, which I love.
Oh, me
And
too.
you're
Right.
literally
So it's more
bringing,
subtle.
yeah, what's outside in. And I know you're our resident gardener. So let's talk. Can you talk a little bit about that to us, Kelly?
Oh, sure. Well, it's really easy to force some branches. So, and I think we all do that, or you can do that. Just clip some from a flowering shrub or bush that you have, or you can buy them already packaged up at, your Trader Joe's or your local grocery store. And it's so pretty to have the tall branches in a vase, and I even
Oh,
just
it
love
is.
the way they look when they're not blooming. But I have an idea that you can use from year to year. Last year, I bought just plain willow branches. They were not going to bloom. They don't get flowers.
Like a
on them.
curly willow?
Yeah, like a curly willow.
Oh,
but
they're
not
beautiful just on their own.
they are beautiful on their own, and not super curly, but sort of that wispy look. And I
Yes,
think
yes.
I bought them from some website, but I mean, you could just Google that. But I went to Michael's and I bought several stems of a very pale yellow, mostly white, little flower. And so I took all the petals apart and took the centers out, and then I glued them, maybe every 5-8 inches, just where it would look natural on the willow branches.
So it looked like it was just beginning to bloom.
Yeah, so it has these tiny little flowers on them. Some were buds and some were petals.
That's a great idea, Kelly. I've even
Yeah,
heard
and
people
the only
Okay.
the only thing that, I mean, it doesn't take you that long other than, if you're using hot glue gun or regular glue. I
I
just use the
love
regular
that
craft
idea.
glue. But you can't, you have to kind of do it in batches, because you can't keep them in the vase on the vertical because the little buds slide down. So, okay, so I learned
You
that.
have to make sure they're totally affixed, right?
Yes,
you glued
exactly.
them
I
on?
turned away to do something else, and I came back and all my buds were on the bottom. So you just lay them flat, maybe do 5 or 6. Then when they dry, and maybe do 3 or 4 branches at a time, and then let them dry. Go do something else. Go clean your bathroom or get the dust bunnies, and then come back and you trim them.
such a
and then
good
you
idea.
do the other bits, and then when they're all dry, you can put them in your vase. And I love them. In fact, I'm going to dig them out today
Oh, great
after the
idea.
podcast, because I've been thinking about them, and put them in a big vase.
And so much more realistic than so many of the sprays that you do get because you want that early spring look.
Yeah,
And where
and
they're
the
just
flowers
starting-
are really
oh,
far apart and they're just coming
yes.
out.
Yeah. So, and I've heard people that have the orchids, you know how hard it is to get them to bloom that second time after you buy them and the bloom dies? I know people that just buy the artificial bloom and put it on the real orchid plant.
Oh my
Guilty. I do
gosh.
that. I
See?
do
Oh,
right now.
okay, there you go.
My orchids are still going strong, but I have fake orchids downstairs that are really good. They look really well, and I'll stick those right in along with just the greenery, and that works. But let's talk
Oh, you
about
sly devils.
let's talk about forcing real branches, though. Like I know in my area, I can go out and pick forsythia, even lilac, but I just like to leave them alone. I like them to bloom naturally. Crabapple is gorgeous blooming. There's so many things that you can get, and the buds usually, or the trees usually put forth their flowering buds here in the fall. So they're ready, and you can just tell they start to get a little swollen. And you just cut, at least, you want them long. You don't want them short because you want
Well,
to
and we
have
do that
a
with
big
the-
spray.
We do it
And
with
you
the
cut
red
them on the
buds.
diagonal, and you either clip the stem at the bottom going up the stem, or you bruise it, like smash it so more water gets in, and then put them in a vase and put water in it, and change your water every couple days, and just put them in a nice warm spot, and they just look beautiful. And my favorite really is crabapple, but I have to go to, I don't know if you have a terrain where you live. It's part of, it's the like garden shop of anthropology.
And Terrain is on Be Home, our app, with us.
Yes, that's right. And their crab apples, I go there to get the crab apple because I just can't get it around here. They're beautiful. So even where you live, if you can't get anything organically, pussy willows just grow like weeds around here. So
I
you just
love
get it
them.
everywhere.
But we've got the red buds. Do you have those?
Oh,
Those are
we have
yes,
red
and
buds.
they.
gorgeous.
I've never tried forcing them. Do they force well?
Well, I just cut them after they've already started blooming and put them in a vase, but they're just gorgeous.
Well, see, you can do that around here. We don't usually get much flowering trees. Our trees don't come into flower till about mid-April.
Oh, okay.
So, if we want, we can get an extra maybe month or so out of it. You can even start in February, but that this is come and gone. And we get them, and so we can just keep them inside and have them a little longer just by cutting them. And forsythias also around here are just like weeds.
Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy to reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health. Potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfast, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
Oh,
Can I give a tip about
Yes,
cutting
yes.
the branches? Okay,
Yes.
so when you're going to cut any flowers, but since we're talking about the branches, it's best to do it with a sharp knife, not a scissor or a pruner, because you want to leave the stem, I'm losing the name right now, but there's a bit of the stem where the water is conducted up to
Yes.
the flower, right?
Yeah.
So if you cut it with a scissor, you're smashing them together and you're closing it off. Right?
Oh,
So
good
what you want to
point.
do is take your flowers or your branches, bring them in your sink, have them in a bucket or something of warm tap
water. That's right.
Cut them on the diagonal with your sharp knife under the water, or take them and then rinse them off with some running cool water and then put them right in your vase. You don't want air to get in,
To get up there.
because it's going to block the water
Oh, good point.
from coming out.
Can I ask you another question?
I hope I can answer it.
Do you put any? I've never put any like you know, what is it? Flour preservative, or you can even like use a ginger ale or a lemon
Right.
lime soda. I've
Right,
heard.
right.
Do you ever do that in your flowering branches? I've never done that.
I try to use that, and sometimes it just comes in the little packet if you buy your flowers from Trader Joe's or something.
Yes, yes.
And I don't have a canister under my sink right now as I ran out, but so I do and I don't. But it is a good idea to do it. It really does extend the life, and it helps the water uptake. It inhibits any bacteria from growing. But if you don't have that, or you don't want to use something that has chemicals in it, but these are fairly harmless and they're getting mixed in with a lot of water, you can use a sugared lemon lime soda.
Sure, I've heard of
Like
that.
12 ounces to a gallon.
Oh,
So
really?
you just figure out
Oh,
whatever that
okay.
math is. Anita can do that math for you. But it really does help. The best thing that you can do is just make sure that the water is clean.
Yes,
Cut it
yes.
properly
And
then
rinse
make
it,
sure
right?
the water
I mean,
is
change
clean.
the water.
Yeah, change
Yes.
the water about every 3 days. I mean, sometimes if you forget and and you walk by and you're like, "Ooh, that doesn't really smell like flowers anymore." It's probably the yucky water. And just
Yeah.
make sure you take all the foliage off that would be submerged in the water.
Oh, yes,
because
definitely.
that really breeds the bacteria and the germs
Kelly,
and stuff.
these are excellent tips. Do
Well,
you
thank
do
you.
anything else to decorate for spring? I know that as spring comes along,
Mm-hmm.
not maybe very first, but as spring moves along, I love to decorate, like tucking a faux nest with
Yeah, I
some
love
eggs
that.
here and there. Do any of you do that?
Oh,
I
definitely. I love the
do.
little faux nest, and
Yeah.
this is the time where I do like to put some plants out. Like we said, I don't know how long they'll live, but I did put some plants under a cloche, that we
Yes.
talked about
Oh,
in a previous
yeah.
episode. But I also, my ivy almost died the other day. I was afraid I was going to have to come on and tell everyone that it had died.
And it was doing so well.
Well, I took it out. It was dry. I watered it and put it by the light, and it's actually revived. So I'm just so excited.
Oh,
that it's
good
come
job! You
back.
watered it. Maybe you're gonna earn that gardening award back. But let's
other
see what
than-
happens with the
I'm
ivy.
working on it, Kelly.
But other than
working-
plants, I know I use use little nests, and I actually make them, and we'll put that on the show notes. I have a really good tutorial for
great
how to
idea.
make a realistic looking nest. Super easy, little sticky, but because you have to use like a spray glue and fixative. But
Have you ever used a real nest? Because I have, and they just fall apart.
well, I'm a little funny about like that kind of like germy stuff coming into my house. But what I love to do with them is just like put them, if I have my dining room table has branches on it and what have you, and then I can put on candlesticks, like stick a little nest on top of a silver
Oh, cute
candlestick.
idea.
So
Doesn't
so
that
cute.
look pretty?
Yeah, very
And
nice.
also do not negate using beautiful faux branches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I go to a specialty store for them, and they're an
The
investment.
special faux branch store near
Special-
you.
That's exactly right. But more of a design store,
That's in
Grocery
Lancaster?
store, That makes sense.
The faux branch
Yeah, we
stores
do have them in Lancaster. And they cost a little more, but I've had them for like a dozen years, and they hold up wonderfully, and they look beautiful. So every year I just keep adding to that, and now
that's
I
smart.
can put them in a big urn, and they look very realistic.
I love that, a big urn with branches coming out of it. That's so stunning. And wow, what a dynamite focal point. Hey, I did something last year with eggs,
yeah.
and I really loved it. So I think I'm going to replicate it again this year. There's a post. So
Well,
we can
do
put that in
tell.
the show notes. Well, you're not going to be really surprised because you know how I feel about spray paint. But I spray painted the eggs gold.
What color?
Oh, I knew it was going to be gold.
Oh, the golden egg.
So I did just a few golden eggs, and then I mixed in real brown eggs and white eggs.
Oh, I
And
bet you that's beautiful.
I loved it. And you know what I put it with? And I really, somebody should just teach me how to knit. I really want to learn how to knit. I just haven't never taken the time to learn, but I love the yarn, and I can just get lost in the aisle. And and I see all these people with their patterns and they know what they're going to make. I just like the balls of it.
I
So,
know.
the skeins, is that how you say it? So I bought just luscious ivory colored ones and white ones and a soft sort of a taupey mixed one, and then I tied them up with some sort of shreddy linen little ribbons and tucked them all in a basket with these eggs. Oh, and it just looks so
my.
pretty. And it was
Do you have a
Eastery.
picture of that? Did you do
Yeah,
a post
on
about
my
it?
blog, I have a bunch
Okay.
of pictures of it.
Oh, great idea. And
It
this is
was
the time.
Eastery, but it wasn't overly sweet Eastery, and it wasn't.
That's exactly
Peter
what I look
Rabbit.
for.
Yeah.
And
this is the
another
time when
idea that's
go ahead.
along that line is
Yeah.
I have an old 7-Up crate, with all the little individual the little holes that you would put each individual bottle, and I make that I make that like a little spring topiary / hello to spring, and I put like a nest in one and fill another little hole with eggs, and then I do
Oh, very nice.
I plant like thyme in one, and just like a ball of not yarn but a ball of twine in another one, just here and there, and it makes it's a great vignette.
Well, and I
I
saw, I
love
think, on your blog, Yvonne, a bottle holder, and it had mason jars and had the herbs in them. It just looked beautiful.
Yes,
Very fresh.
and very fun to do in the spring. Absolutely.
And then I know it maybe sound a little cliche, but I still love my lambs. And I just found this gorgeous vintage
Yes.
kind of concrete. It's very, very heavy lamb that I set out. But I also have them, I think they're from the old nativity scenes that you can buy on
Yes, the little
eBay.
ones. I've seen those.
Well, I mean, some of these are rather large. I think they were from churches. So I have some very large lambs, and they're just beautiful. So I like setting those out too.
Oh, what a great idea.
But that is a great idea, because probably a lot of vintage nativity sets get broken up, and you might just have like Joseph off on his own and some lambs someplace else, right?
Yeah. And see, that just fits in, because the best thing I can a tip I can give about decorating for spring is just do not overdo it. You want to tuck it in. Like those little lambs, they could show up somewhere really sweet that unless you're really looking for them, they wouldn't like scream at you. But what a sweet little surprise. Or tucking a nest somewhere, putting it on, like I said, on a candlestick, or sticking it in a corner, or even putting it like a little nest in a plant you already have at the base. How pretty would
yeah,
that be?
sweet.
Yeah,
and
don't
maybe
overdo
not
it. A
going
subtle
overboard.
hand.
Yeah.
A subtle
Yes.
hand.
Agreed.
Go ahead, clean out your closet, then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free, That's right, a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order.
Pretty. Well, yeah, and wreaths. We can always add in some wreaths at this time of year too. I mean, I don't really do a post-Christmas one, but then around this time of year, a spring wreath is really pretty for your front door.
I love wreaths. It's like I love pillows, like I love vignettes. Yeah. Never
just
leave your
love too
door.
much.
Never leave
She
your
does.
door empty, because that's the welcome. That's your first welcome to your guests. So you want to give them a little taste of what awaits them inside. And yes, spring wreaths. I have a bunch of them: forsythia, weeping cherry, real wispy, and we'll put those on our show notes as well.
So do you do artificial or do you do real on your wreaths?
No. Artificial, definitely artificial. And every year a bird builds its nest on our front door.
That's so funny.
And we let them go. It's like a science lesson, but they do, the gunk that comes out of the nest really does do a lot of damage to our paint, so we're always like having to sand and repaint. But it's so worth it to see those little birds. They're so sweet.
Yeah, and smart little birds. I mean, they're
Smart
like,
little birds,
Did you
yep.
put the wreath up yet? Let's get in there.
Yeah, they like in this area. Birds are always looking for like the best place to build their nest.
Well, if I was a bird, I'd build my nest in Stone Gable too.
Oh, thank you. Like some people shoo them away. I'm like, oh, let them go. Look how cute.
That's okay. Bobby will repaint the door. It's okay.
No, Yvonne will repaint the door. That's about my speed.
Well, I love all of this. I'm excited for spring, and I'm going to look for my branches today to put them out.
I
So thanks for the reminder.
know.
Me too. Is that, Yvonne, do you have anything else?
No, I think that's about it. I mean, I think we've covered some really cool tips for our readers. Force those branches, use faux branches, tuck a little bit spring here and there, transition, enjoy spring to the fullest in your area because it's very short-lived.
All right. Well, remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey there. If you're loving our podcast like we're loving our podcast, we would love you to rate and review us. Head to iTunes to do that. It's easy and it would mean so much to us. And if you do rate and review us, we're going to enter you to win a fantastic giveaway. The details for the giveaway are in the show notes for this episode, and you can find the show notes at decoratingtipsandtricks.com.